Hey everyone, Lee here. Hope you're all okay. Sorry I haven't made a video recently. I've been very busy. But anyway, as you can see from the title of this video, I don't believe we live in a proper democracy in Britain. For two reasons. Firstly, the Queen is the head of state in this country, meaning she signs bills into laws. Any bills that goes through the Parliament and Laws process and passes a majority in Parliament, the Queen signs into law. She can technically veto the bill. She can go, no, I don't like the look of that bill, put it back to Parliament. She can technically do that. I've not seen an instance where she's done that, but she can technically do that. And yet she's unelected. She's unelected, she inherited her title, yet she has a say on whether bills are passed into law or not. That doesn't make sense to me. That's one reason we don't live in a proper democracy. Now, a lot of people call me unpatriotic, anti-British. How can you be against the royals? They do so much for tourism. They're great representatives of Britain. Blah blah blah. Well, I will use an example of Sweden, where they still have their royals there living in their palace, and they still use their royals for tourism, and that's great for that. But their royals don't have any power. They have a proper democracy, but they still have their royal family for publicly funded royal family for tourism, which I don't mind. Like I said, they do a lot for tourism. The royal wedding did a lot for our economy. I understand that. I'm not saying don't have any use, but they shouldn't decide. In a modern democracy, they shouldn't decide on our bills and laws. I'm sorry, they shouldn't. Why should the Queen have the power to veto bills? If we didn't elect her, why should she have the power to do that? I don't. That's not democracy for me. It just really isn't. I mean, America, they don't have a royal family, do they? I mean, yes, it's part of our history, but that is the thing. It's history. In a modern 21st century democracy, you shouldn't have royals deciding what bills are passed into law or not. It's common sense. If you believe in proper democracy, you believe in elected people passing laws, putting them into law. Maybe the Prime Minister signing it, the head of state, meaning the Prime Minister maybe signing it into law once it's passed a majority. That would be fine, but the Queen signs it into law, which just doesn't make sense. And like I said, America, they don't have any royals. They have two chambers, Senate and Congress, which brings me on to my second point as why we don't have proper democracy. The House of Lords. Now, this has been going on for ages. It's been debated for ages, actually, whether the House, because the House of Lords is appointed, yet they amend bills. They debate and amend bills. I mean, they're appointed by the government of the day. Some rules based on maybe they've achieved certain thing in their own party, obviously, and like Lib Dem, Labour, Tory. And also there's business people. There you've got Lord Sugar, and you've got the Archbishop of Canterbury. I think he's a Lord in the House of Lords. Representing religion, you got again Lord Sugar representing business, and then you got representatives from the three main political parties, appointed, not elected, appointed because maybe they've achieved something. And the House of Lords is a lot bigger than Houses of Parliament. It's got, I don't know how many, but got quite a few hundred more, and it's all appointed. And my point is, I don't think any person should have a right to amend bills when they're not elected. They're not amending those bills based on what, they're not discussing those bills, they're not changing those bills based on what we voted for, what we elected them for. They're doing it for their own self-interest, their own party interest, or business interest, or religious interest. They're doing it for that reason, not to represent the people. That's what politicians are there for. Yes, okay, MPs expenses, etc. Sometimes MPs don't always get it right, but they are there mainly to represent their constituents. Now, I personally think, like America, the Senate is, I think, the higher chamber in America. The Senate's elected, senators are elected, congressmen are elected in all the states, and I think lords should be elected in every constituency we have, and it should shrink to how many constituents we have. Yes, that means we'd start all over again, and all the lords in the House of Lords will just lose all their. But that's fine. If they want to stand for election, they can. If someone votes them in, whether they're religious, business, whatever, that doesn't matter. The fact is, if they're elected, it doesn't matter who they represent. If they stand for election for the House of Lords, that's fine by me. I think we should have, every time we have an MP election, we should have a Lords election. To represent every constituency. And that way, the process itself is fun. I don't mind the process in which bills are debated. That's fine. It's just the fact that lords are appointed, not elected. Now, as government says it wants to partially elect House of Lords, 80%. Well, if you can do that, you might as well do it 100%. Why should anyone be appointed in the House of Lords? People will probably say, oh, but you need people representing, everyone from the community. Again, the business community, religious community. Well, if these happen to be business people when they're elected, that's fine. I don't have an issue with them if they're religious or they're part of business. What I have an issue with is they're appointed by vested interest. They look at their own self-interest rather than on behalf of their constituents. I think it should be 100% elected. There's no logical argument against that. If you believe in proper democracy, you believe elected officials decide on bills, not appointed. I just can't believe we still live in an old-fashioned time where where we still have the Queen as the head of state, and most of them, and we have lords appointed. Now, under this Tory-led government, there's no way that will change. I mean, what really annoyed me was, I saw in Parliament recently, is Prince Philip's 90th birthday or something. Now, I think Prince Philip is brilliant, to be honest. I think he's a laugh. He's a bit old, he's a bit of an old racist, he's a bit, it's just some dodgy statements, but he's quite funny to, hear his statements and whatever. But Parliament were just having a motion, about, I think, half an hour motion, praising Prince Philip. And one Labour MP stood up and says, why are we all kowtowing to the royals? They're not elected. We should have a fully, they don't represent us. Why are we still, everyone's still praising them? Yes, they're a good part of our history, but they should not, they should still have the power they have. And this guy got really booed big time, by others. Oh, no, how can you say that? They're brilliant, the royals. And it just, Labour leader Ed Miliband, who Labour meant to represent workers, lavish praise on Prince Philip as well. And it's just like they use half an hour of Parliament time when it could just be discussing other motions to, kiss Prince Philip's ass. It's just ridiculous. The royals should not have any power. They should be there for tourism, and that's it. And the House of Lords should be fully elected. That's the two reasons. Once we sort those two issues out and maybe have a fairer voting system, then I think we'll have a proper democracy. And like I said, I understand we do have freedoms that other countries don't have, but these two issues have been really bugging me. And I think there needs to be a proper debate on this. So, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to debate with me on this. And I'll put another video up soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.